Hi everyone, and welcome to this video on eIDAS. Today I'm trying to explain to you what is eIDAS. So eIDAS is a European regulation, and it covers two parts. It covers eIDs and trust services. So it allows for the use of national digital identities to be used in other countries, and it also harmonizes the acceptance of trust services, such as signing and certificates across borders. So it basically provides trust and assurance for online transactions. Think about it, it's similar to using your passport or using notary services, but then online. And the great thing is there's a new version, eIDAS 2. So what's the difference? Well, the biggest difference is in the eIDs. Now, all countries are required to provide an identity wallet, and an identity wallet contains identity attributes. So this can function as an online eID, but the wallets can do so much more because a wallet allows for all sorts of other information to be stored, such as identity cards and your driving license, information about your medication or insurance, your educational degrees, your work, permits, certification, and this is virtually endless. The wallet could contain tickets to events or hotel bookings, loyalty cards, just imagine it, it could be in there. And all this information is under control of the person using the wallet. And they can choose to share it with service providers, both online and offline. And the really good news is that these wallets will also be usable by private sector. So eIDAS 2, biggest change is it's not applying to governmental services anymore. It's also applying to the whole industry. Now, this new service is not just about the wallets. The trust services are updated as well, and some new services are added, such as attestation of attributes, which is needed for the wallets, but also archiving and ledgers will be covered and will be regulated and made more secure. And of course, the legislation still applies to the existing trust services, such as certificates and signatures. Now, we've had trust services under eIDAS since 2014. Think about electronic signing and sealing of documents, timestamping, delivery services, website authentication certificates. And the new kids on the block are electronic issuing of attestations of attributes, archiving, ledgers, and the signature and seal creation devices, so the devices behind it. And eIDAS defines the requirements for trust service providers to deliver these services with high assurance levels. And trust service providers must be certified to qualify, meaning they are supervised, there's an authority looking onto their work and how they deliver these services. Now, who should pay attention? Well, anyone who must comply, of course. But also, many will find new opportunities within these wallets, even if you're not, at the focus at the heart of this legislation. Compliance to eIDAS 2 is mandatory if you're a governmental organization, and also if you're a regulated industry, such as finance or health. And then you must accept the EU wallets as a means of authentication. It doesn't say it's the only means. You can still use other authentication means as well, but users must have the possibility to use their wallets to authenticate to your services. But apart from compliance, any private sector organization will be able to use these wallets and identify or authenticate their users with it on a high assurance level. There's a government-grade, high assured identity in these wallets that you can use. And in many countries, this is currently not possible. If you need to be certain of your user's identity, you have to use proprietary solutions based on verification of identity documents or video identification. And in the Nordic and Baltic countries, private sector organizations are also able to use governmental identities. But in most European countries, if you're not government, you can't use them. And this will change. So who should pay attention? If you're in a regulated sector, And regulated means that by law, if it's national or European law, that you are required to use strong authentication for your services, which typically comes down to having properly identified your customers and using multi-factor authentication. In that case, you must accept the European wallets as an option to do so. And you're exempted if you're a micro or small enterprise. But you can still use other authentication means as well. Um, you can use your own solutions, your current solutions, the existing eIDs, but users must have the possibility to use their wallets to authenticate. And this regulation for compliance will come into force within 3 years from now. But if you're not regulated, but you still would like or need sufficient or strong authentication, then this is a real opportunity. And maybe currently you're accepting a variety of European eIDs. There's different ones in each country, or you have your own user account set up where you onboard your users and then create accounts. Well, in both cases, think about adding the wallets as an authentication means next to it. And many countries who currently don't have national eID solutions will start providing these identity wallets in the near future. And also, if you have your own user account set up, EU wallets can save costs on security, on data accuracy. So you could think about replacing that with the EU wallets, or at least accepting the EU wallets next to your existing methods. But wait, there's much more. The wallet is not yet another eID. Remember, it's about sharing data and attributes as well. So look at your online services. Do you have a portal for uploading PDFs, maybe? Or do you ask your customers to send you information by email or maybe even by fax still? And how would you like to have them share their data with you in a trustworthy way, knowing that it hasn't been tampered with and that it's assured, the content is assured by the source of that information? Or even just being able to process this data, not having to decipher vague scans or blurry pictures. That would be great, wouldn't it? Or do you have online forms, that need to be filled out? And it's a hassle for your customers, but it also generates typos. And how would you like to see that information, filled out on the fly by having the data shared directly from the wallet without errors? So you don't need to check if it's correct and if it wasn't mistyped. Well, the possibilities are literally endless. Because the best of both worlds, of course, is in combining this identity eID functionality with the data sharing abilities. So you get rich accounts and added attributes from all sorts of sources. You can combine multiple sources. You can ask for a certain level of assurance, even very high, from governmental data sources, third-party information, identity documents, but also permits, certificates, or tickets and vouchers and whatever. Unfortunately, this is still work in progress right now. The legislation was voted on by Parliament at the end of February and will come into force in a few weeks, so March or April of 2024. And we expect the member states to start providing wallets and identity around 2026. Now, Signicat is currently working on developing all the servers needed to integrate all these wallets, because there will be a variety. Countries will have their own wallets, either country-specific or provided by third parties, and they will, have a variety of features and functionalities. The core will be interoperable, but the broader support will differ. And Signicat is involved in several European large-scale pilots to get on hands-on practice and also to help define the standards that we're using. And we're still building. But if you want to engage in early hands-on piloting, come and talk to us. because we're more than happy to support you. And of course, we will keep you informed on the progress. Thank you for your attention.